right, and welcome to Fast Break Breakfast NBA podcast. My name is Keith Parrish. I'm joined through the miracle of computer phone right now by my buddy Jon Burr. Jon, how's it going?
I'm in a studio apartment in Santa Monica, California.
Oh,
and it's so poorly lived in at this point. I haven't had it very long. That yes, I do have lamp, but I do not have light bulb.
wait, is this your studio apart? Are you renting a place in Santa Monica?
I just rent here so I don't have to get a hotel. Every time I come
that
out
makes
here.
sense. So our YouTube viewers can see there's like a painted brick wall behind you. It looks like basement living. I'll be honest.
It is essentially a retrofitted like pool house type situation.
Yeah.
That's been turned into an Airbnb. But I was able to talk the guy into letting me use it whenever I need it when I'm out here. However, the rent is higher than my mortgage.
Is this the same Boogie Night house you've been staying at?
No.
Oh, okay.
That would be wonderful.
No, you got something much worse and much
You
different.
can only live in your boss's pool house for so long.
I do see that you have your big gulp. That's because there is no Sonic Route 44 available to
Sonics,
you anywhere in Santa Monica.
And I tried to make it as fast break breakfasty as I could. I went and found a brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tart.
Oh, nice.
Big gulp.
Yeah.
They didn't have disgusting diet drinks in the fountain machine for some reason. Maybe that's like California.
They're probably illegal.
But I did find some DC
you had a
to fill it
Diet
up
Coke,
with.
man. So this is funny. I can't remember who was on. I was talking to a Californian on this show, and I made a joke about happy hours being illegal, and they were like, "I've never heard that." I looked it up. Happy hours are illegal in lots of California. Like that isn't a thing, or at the very least, USA Today wrote a story about it once. About
People
how
don't
you can't
drink out
sell
here like
discounted booze in California. They don't want to entice people to drink extra alcohol or something.
They drink the appropriate amount of alcohol out here.
I didn't know if car hops were illegal.
Success and like yerba mate are the drugs out here. So like it's just a different feel than where it's like in Nashville. It's like it's 1 o'clock. We should be drinking until we go to bed.
I don't know what either of those terms you just used are.
Yes. Indeed.
Yeah. Well, you said you had a Pop-Tart for breakfast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wasn't enough. Starving.
So, yeah, I had.
Also, really early here, and I've been up for a really long time.
Yeah, you're on the West Coast.
Schedule.
I texted you yesterday at 8 a.m. my time, and you were like
5 in the morning where I was.
Well, you said you were in Maui.
Yes.
And I was like, "What? Is it 4?" You're like, "Yeah, it's 4." What?
Brutal. And I did go to bed. I just woke up that early.
Yeah, I can't imagine the time shift there. No, I'll do my breakfast.
Then I have to be in New York City like soon. So I'm gonna be all messed. And I can tell like
you're a wild man.
You just don't sleep well. You just feel the illness creeping in.
Yes.
I can feel it like comes on the back of your throat, and it's just like,
I feel it behind my eyeballs. Like,
I was supposed to go to New York and then watch Allie run a marathon in Vegas. I'm not doing the Vegas thing anymore, man.
Also, you're going to deal with that west to east jet lag, which affects NBA teams. There was a scientific study, a research project.
I'm essentially the Jailblazers.
Yeah, going east from the West Coast, noticeably worse performance. So you will do terribly in New York, Jon.
So that's why everyone thinks Jalen Brunson is so good around the league. I guess they're just jet lagged.
Yeah, when they get to New York.
Julius Randle's shooting in the 3-point contest due to jet lag.
My breakfast, I went to my kids' elementary school. The second graders were doing PowerPoint presentations. I didn't have to do a PowerPoint presentation when I was in the second grade. They're doing PowerPoint presentations. My son is doing a presentation on the Mariana Trench.
Your son know how to code? Can he run our social media? Like, what are we at? Where are we at?
No, years away. I won't let him have a phone or screens. So, but apparently for school, you have to let him use a laptop. So
My kid's better at the iPad than I am, and she's 2.5.
That's not surprising at all. No, they had like it was like in the library, all these kids were giving little presentations. So I went to like kids I knew. I'm like, hey man, what are you doing a thing on? And it was like just reading off a screen about box turtles or Komodo dragons. Pretty good. But they had they provided a little basic. Actually, one of the parents volunteered and provided a little basic donut breakfast with coffee. So I had a little.
Kids are behind, man. My
Krispy
kid's using
Kreme.
Chat GPT to get me to invest
Yeah,
in Kenyan
yeah,
voicemail fraud schemes.
that's right.
Don't give him the screen.
We're already helping our son cheat at presentations. We're like, listen, just you got to reorder these sentences. You got
font.
Yeah. Hey, honestly, the thing he was good about was font. Lots of care about the font. He was like, this needs to look right.
And you can't teach that.
Yeah, you can't teach that artistic eye. So yeah, I had a little mini Krispy Kreme donut. It's All-Star break, John. It is a beautiful reprieve from basketball. You seem like you filled your quote unquote time off with horrific amounts of travel. Are you doing anything non-basketball related that's enjoyable that you can tell us about?
No, I'm not. It's all work, like brutal. Like probably the worst stretch of work I've had. Well, last month there was a period of time where I went to Vegas like back and forth 4 times in 10 days. That was pretty bad.
Right. Yeah, I remember that.
But I don't know. Vegas, like they have the in and out of Vegas so well lubricated, you know?
Oh, yeah.
You're just like, it doesn't feel the way going to places that don't ever want you to leave.
Gotcha. You know? Yeah. The Vegas security takes like 2 minutes.
It's really sad. Like I went to Hawaii. I've never been to Hawaii except to stop over on the way to Japan. Yeah. So I've been to Hawaii like 5 times and never spent more than like 18 hours in a stop there, which is I need to remedy that, but I don't know how.
That's wild. I've been to
Hawaii. Also very, very expensive place.
I've been to Hawaii 0 times. Well, they don't want you to come. They're like, we're full. Yeah. They're like the yard care people who are like, listen, it now costs $100 for us to cut your grass one time. You're like, what? And you're like, oh, they just have all the clients they need. They don't want any more. So now they're just raising the rates to be like, listen, someone will pay it. We're just going to work for those people. So Hawaii, much like I believe Iceland now. Iceland used to be like, hey, it's really cheap to fly to Reykjavik. We'll give you these really awesome cheap packages. And now post Game of Thrones, they're like, there's too many of you. Everything is very, very expensive now.
Well, Reykjavik was like a vacation scam for a minute there.
Oh yeah, was it?
Like the flights were really cheap there, so they pretended there were things to do and that it was like actually beautiful and lovely. And I think I've been to 2 weddings in Iceland because of it.
Yeah.
And it's like you can maybe, if you're lucky, go see some amazing Northern Lights-ish stuff. Yeah. But most likely you're not going to see it. Furthermore, there's nowhere to eat or drink unless you're getting to that like one Nobu they have. You're just going to be eating shark anus for 2 days and being like, why?
Fermented. They bury it in the soil and let the shark ferment. There's a penis museum.
Yeah. I still haven't forgiven the people who were responsible for this. It's just a layover place.
Yeah.
It's like reverse Hawaii.
I will disagree. I agree in the sense that there's not that much in this city. But I saw nature things not an hour drive away that blew my mind. I saw that waterfall from the movie Prometheus. Blew my mind, John.
I guess I don't fake. I'm such an indoor kid that like if I see something outdoor, it's like not as impressive as a McClung dunk to me. I'm like,
right.
I'm like, you know, that's
as far as eateries, Derek Jones. I believe there's a Tarantino themed bar. That's pretty cool.
Go a cocaine den.
Go to Iceland, kids. I had a great time.
Do you drink out of shoes?
Yeah, but I've heard it's actually very, very expensive now. You didn't have a chance though to watch the All-Star game, right? You ingested some of that.
I saw it all, man.
Whoo! We'll get to that in a second. I guess we did our breakfast. Let's go ahead and get going. Let's do our breakfast in bed apology. That comes after our breakfast. It's our chance to make right what we might have gotten wrong on a previous episode. It's our gateway into our basketball talk. It's not just a stopover. It's not a layover. We're here now. Let's talk about basketball. And let's start with something we need to make right. What would you like to make right in the basketball podcasting world, John?
Brad Beal I have besmirched you as much as.
Are you
any
calling
other
him
on this
Brad
show.
too now?
Oh, I shouldn't. Forgot Bradley Beal.
That's the thing. That's a thing I
Lee.
do, and I no one gave me
Bradley
permission to
Lee
do that.
Beal.
Yeah.
I think you would just call him Brad. I think you're on a real first name basis.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
don't even need the surname. But I make fun of him a lot, and he has gone from, in one fell swoop, from one alleged interaction, it's gone from amongst my least favorite players to perhaps my favorite player. Because did you hear about what he said to Ben Simmons on the free throw line?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, tell our listeners.
Beautiful. Essentially, Ben Simmons was getting tired of the hack-a-bin, which is a good strategy.
Yeah.
And
back when he played, yeah.
Told Brad, I'm sick and tired of getting hacked. $5,000 says I sink them both. Brad just very calmly, coolly said, "Make it 20." Brick.
Yeah. Did he accept the bet? Do we have any idea? Was the bet accepted for 20?
I prefer to the man who shot Liberty Valance kind of leave it nebulous and legendary. We'll never truly know.
The legend always better than the truth. This also came into All-Star Weekend for me, where I think the best thing that came out of All-Star Weekend, not joking, it was gross as far as the television product generally, but we had a sublime moment during the player draft where Nikola Jokic is like, I am not going to get picked last. And while Ernie Johnson is just yammering on about Donovan Mitchell or something, Jokic stands up early and is like, I'm not getting picked last. I'm not getting picked behind Lowry Markkanen. So the legend of this was perfect. And then after the game, Michael Malone.
I don't even want to contribute to dispelling the legend here.
Yeah. So Michael Malone's like, oh, he didn't mean to do that. He thought he was the last person left, and he felt terribly. He wanted to apologize to Lowry. He respects Lowry, and he didn't mean to do that. Like that, you're just killing the only good moment. Also, you're telling me the player with the best vision in the entire game didn't see a 7-foot white guy sitting beside him? Like,
he's kind of like,
I find Jokic's explanation a little bit dubious. But why are they trying to ruin the best part of all of All-Star Weekend? But I don't know. Here's my apology. I normally shoot for factual errors. That's my favorite brand of apology. No one in the Slack gave me a fact check fact. So I perhaps last episode was error-free, which is impossible, literally impossible. But I don't have a factual error, but I will say I thought of something that I've been thinking about that I got wrong coming into the year. It wasn't necessarily a prediction. It was just analysis of a rule change. I thought the take foul would be awful. I thought it would be ineffective. I pointed to the clear path foul as being a blight upon the game of basketball and how it's enforced terribly. The way the rule is written, many times it doesn't make any sense. It has not prevented people from doing it. It did not lead to an increase in fast breaks. So I'm like, what's the point of this clear path foul? It's terrible. Now we have a take foul too. There's no way it's going to work out well. I believe I was wrong. I mean, scoring's up. Fast breaks are up. My favorite team, the Grizzlies, big time benefactors of the take foul. They're getting one like every game basically. And it seems like it's really truly worked. So I can acknowledge that I was totally wrong there. I thought there would be unintended consequences we hadn't even dreamed of. I haven't seen them yet. So far, it seems like this is a perfect addition to the NBA rulebook.
Yeah, well, that's a real apology. In the spirit of your real apology, I'll offer one that is also a plug for our playbacks, which I don't know when our next scheduled one is, but I look forward to it. I had a friend call me who was lurking in our playback and give me the following takedown. He said, "Here is my impression of y'all's playback. Dylan Brooks does 17 horrible, horrible things. Complete silence from both of you.
Yeah.
Dylan Brooks does a very normal, like, close out or like boxes one person out. Keith gushes about how that's Dylan Brooks, and that's what makes him
that's my game.
Above average NBA player.
That's my game.
And then, and I was like, and at first I'm reveling in this, and then it's like, it's bad enough that Keith does this, but you let him get away with it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's definitely what I do. I mean, what's the point of pointing out a Bricks contested shot?
It was so good. It
No,
was so good.
I
But
there is purpose in almost everything I do. I am well aware. I will say, going back to the take file,
if you want to get down with your fellow dildos, come
yeah,
get in on
yeah.
playback.
We have we have an actual live real watch party on Thursday. The Grizzlies are playing the 76ers coming out of the All-Star break hot on national TV on TNT. That would be a perfect playback power hour, but of course, we'll be live in at Noble's Beer Hall in Nashville, Tennessee. That's at 6:30 p.m. on Thursday, tomorrow, February 23rd. Grizzlies against the 76ers. 6:30 p.m. early start. Come to Noble's Beer Hall. We have beer specials. I'll be giving away some Grizzlies prizes. I will be pointing out whenever Dylan Brooks does something good. I might also point out whenever D'Anthony Melton does something good. So it'll be a fun watch party. But going back to the take foul thing, the one problem I found, the one loophole I found is if there are a few seconds left on the clock in any quarter and the other team has a fast break, a take foul is better than a common foul. Because if the other team's in bonus, if the other team's in the bonus, a common foul results in 2 free throws. A take foul only results in 1 free throw. If you do a take foul with like 1 or 2 seconds left, all right, 1 free throw, but you stop a fast break, then they have to inbounds the ball. So that maybe that's the only little tweak. But otherwise, good job, rules committee, for
seems easily remedied
for improving the product. Speaking of Grizzlies, as the sponsor of our show, before we get to our steak and eggs best thing, I got to tell you about the Small Business FedEx Biz Grant. This is taking your small business to the next level by entering the 2023 FedEx Small Business Grant Contest. FedEx will award 10 small businesses over $300,000 this year. And one of the prizes could, it's deadline passed. Let me scroll on down.
Back to Lizzo.
Speaking of the Grizzlies, before we get to our steak and eggs best thing, let me tell you about the game day deals called Buzzer Beaters. They're for Grizzlies fans. You can get game day deals when you sign up for Buzzer Beaters. You sign up by texting Buzzer Beater, that's one word, Buzzer Beater, to 833-550-0028. That will opt you in for discounts to the next Grizzlies home game. Get tickets, get hyped, and get big savings with Buzzer Beaters. Visit grizzlies.com/buzzerbeater for any questions and more information. All right, steak and eggs best thing, John. Do you even have a best thing? What's your best thing from the All-Star weekend, All-Star break?
So I imagine our experiences were different.
Okay.
If I am to assume that you share in the outrage that I read upon my early morning constitutional tweets.
Yeah.
I imagine, because I had a pleasant All-Star weekend. I had a good time. I enjoyed the festivities.
Yeah.
I particularly enjoyed a moment that I thought was, sweet, almost to the point of saccharine. When the draft for the players started, which, by the way, do you like them drafting the reserves first? It confused me.
It confused me, but I liked it once I figured out what was going on.
And even I had bet on this. I had bet on Joel Embiid to be the first pick. So when the Dame was picking, I was like,
that's incredible. Well, so I was confused, which is not that uncommon because I refuse to read the rules of what the things are happening. I don't read the press releases. I'm like, I'll figure it out. But I had looked at the Vegas line for the basketball game, and it was like, I want to say it was Team Giannis was favored before the draft, and then it flipped. But maybe I'm wrong here. Anyways, I saw there was a line like one of the Giannis or LeBron was favored by 2.5 points, and I'm like, wait, do we even know who the starters are yet? And I was confused, like, oh, is this even been picked yet? And then they started drafting the reserves, so I'm like, well, maybe the starters are already known. So like,
that's what happened to me.
So I was confused. I assumed it was already known. Yeah.
So I thought I'd just thrown my money into the sea and was furious that Embiid was even available if he wasn't even in the draft pool.
Yeah.
But right as they're starting the draft, first of all, they left Shaq, Kenny, and Chuck's live mics on.
That was incredible.
And first of all, it's notable. Not only were they as confused as I was, and also didn't know what was going on, but they also were trading the exact kind of repartee and barbs that they trade on the show, like exactly. Like it
Yeah.
was no difference. And it was just heartening to be like, wow, and it shows why the show's lasted so long. It was like this show that I watched that I assumed was like a simulation of these guys hanging out really is just these guys hanging out, for better or for worse.
Right.
But it was just kind of like, it was kind of amazing to see the man behind the curtain and to realize that the Wizard of Oz in this case is real, and that's really how these guys are. Because it was Shaq giving Chuck the business, and Chuck having an amazing one-liner coming right back at him, and it's just, I don't know. For me, as a guy who's followed the NBA for so long and followed those guys for so long, it was kind of like affirming. It was like, yeah, that's why I do this. That's why I like still enjoy watching on Thursday nights, even though most forms of like mainstream media have worn out their usefulness for me. That one is still a lot of fun. It'd be like if if Terry Bradshaw and Jimmy Johnson had actually kept their fastballs when they first like emerged as the NFL guys, and it was like, oh, this is zany and different. These guys have been able to keep it up for decades.
The live mic thing was confusing. I mean, I think most people, I don't know, if for me, I frequently have multiple screens on, and I have multiple tabs open on my computer. And initially I was like, where are Shaq and Chuck talking? Do I need to close a browser window? And then I was like, what's happening? And then I'm like, and I was sitting in my basement with like only one TV was on of my two main TVs. I'm like, one TV's on. What's that? Like, oh, this is just live. And also I was like 4 minutes behind live TV. I'd like paused it and then came back. And so normally I'll go to Twitter and be like, are people talking about this live mic thing? So I was legit confused. Like, were they broadcast? Was it truly they didn't know they were on, or were they?
Yeah.
I thought maybe it was like an alternate stream somewhere you could watch where they were commenting.
So on TBS, you were supposed to get a stream of them, but I didn't have access to that because I was watching in a sports bar with a friend. Scoreboard, after meals. But yeah, it was just like loudly blaring over like you couldn't even hear what Ernie was saying. I couldn't.
Stream. I was blown away.
That Ernie's probably up there doing like a story about the Book of Psalms and Henry Aaron, and all I hear is like Chuck telling Shaq he's going to whoop his ass.
I couldn't believe that on a live national broadcast of that importance. Yeah, they made that gaffe. It was just like
the All-Star. I will say the All-Star game, they really are trying to like do innovative stuff as far as like this guy's mic'd up and this guy's talking while he's playing, and oh, there's Walker Kessler talking to us while he's shooting over a windmill, and like a lot of it's like, I don't know if this is necessary, guys, if you can't actually pull it off.
I mean,
because you got the same guys who did like Space Ghost Coast to Coast, trying to do the biggest broadcast in the world, So it's just like,
there's so much of it where, as I don't know, I'm an old dad now. There's so much of an hour. I'm like, just why aren't we just letting the guy shoot the 3-pointers? Why aren't we just letting I know it's entertainment product, but now, hey, these numbers came out. These ratings are disastrous.
If my options are watching Kevin Huerter miss 32 3-point shots, while standing in an empty Solemn Arena in Salt Lake City, or my options are Kevin Huerter missing 32 3-point shots while the Jabberwockies dance in one of the corners, and like Walker Kessler's trying to interview him while he's shooting, and Chuck and Ernie are like farting into a live mic, I will take the latter.
I'm with you there. And honestly, the All-Star Saturday night worked out, I thought, fine. The 3-point shootout's good. Dunk contest was good. Refreshingly good. The skills contest remains beyond confusing.
I love how the hole is now idiot like proof.
Pass it through this giant thing. Oh, our robotic moving targets don't work. This one doesn't work.
Tony Allen could get it through that hole left-handed.
Like the shooting contest, the relay race or whatever, where everyone just bricks their jumpers. The Jazz, I think, were 1 out of 9 on jumpers, and
the Jazz made a strong claim to never be allowed to even participate in any All-Star festivities ever again.
The Antetokounmpo team just shooting jumpers. Was like, what is happening?
What is this? What is the Antetokounmpo team?
So the funny part about All-Star Saturday night was like I was desperately trying to entice my 8-year-old to watch. And watching the broadcast, I'm like, they're trying to make this entertaining for just anyone. It just sights and sounds and pyrotechnics and it's flashy and just they're trying to make it entertaining. So he's watching some of it and he actually watched the parts of the 3-point shootout. So I'm like, hey man, look, these guys look how good they are at shooting. And when Herder went up, he was like, this guy's terrible. And I was like,
I had money on Herder.
Here's a verbatim exchange with my 8-year-old who doesn't particularly like basketball. He said, this guy's terrible. I'm like, actually, these are some of the best shooters in the world. He said, then why is he failing? It's like, I don't know, man. Turns out that was the worst.
Did you push over your king piece?
Yeah. He was you got me. Check and mate. The Herder performance was the worst 3-point performance since Michael Jordan, apparently. And Michael Jordan didn't have any starry soda deep shot bonus ball.
Reggie Miller from somehow making fun of Julius Randle even more.
Yeah.
And for all the Sturm and Drang I gave Chuck, Kenny Ernie and company, man, Reggie Miller on the mic. That was rough stuff.
There was some rough stuff. There was dunk contest stuff where like their reactions immediately after were pretty funny. Where it's like,
yeah, I agree.
There would be like a great dunk, and they'd be like, not. I can't remember what the exact sigh was, but it's just like, well, that didn't work. I was like, that was incredible.
That's just Kenny's thing, man. So Kenny's thing is being wrong with utmost confidence.
We'll talk about the dunk contest, and it's part of my best thing. Oh, yeah. Mac McClung winning the dunk contest was great. You know, a clear showman, a man who frankly understood I can be an awesome dunker, which of course greatly helps, but it's the presentation, it's the finishing, it's the sticking the landing, it's the artist thing. It's like knowing whatever happens in the song right makes a great impression. And so like so many of the other guys just didn't even like, they needed a performance coach of like, you got to act like you did something awesome. Like, I feel like Trey Murphy 3 had so many awesome dunks and seemed apologetic.
He was too cool for school after
too cool
or sad.
And like
somebody might have even solemn.
Right. It was a great moment that Kenyon Martin got to be out there with his son, Kenyon Martin Jr. But Kenyon Martin was too cool for school. Oh, he's one of the coolest players. He's just like, I'm stoic. I'm going to stand here. Like, that harms the dunk. If you're a prop guy, if your famous NBA father throws you the alley-oop, but then when the dunk goes in, he just stands there. Like it's all about the presentation and the hype.
I agree, because like Mac McClung, if you see interviews with him, seems Mormon. He looks like the guy from Future Islands on David Letterman. He's not like the type of guy to go insane or do all the insane things he does immediately. As soon as he hits a dunk, he turns into like Jason Williams and like has a different voice and attitude and starts, doing the Chris Benoit thumb across the throat. It's over. But that's part of what makes the dunk cool.
He clearly had practiced his post-dunk maneuver. I honestly think he
basically turned into Bolo Young in Bloodsport after he kills a guy after every dunk.
He probably would have won the dunk contest even without that stuff. But it was a very simple, like, you need a finishing coach to go around and teach you how to be on stage. It's like, again, I come from a world of classical music and music theater. You have to be taught how to bow. And like, that's what these guys needed. It was just the finishing to do the right thing. But anyway,
we do not talk about anyone winning a 3-point contest except for one time, because Larry Bird stuck his finger in the air before the ball went in.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's part of the presentation.
No, but Mac McClung, one of the fun little stats here, he won $100,000 from the dunk contest victory, and that doubled his career earnings, apparently. Which just made me think, if I won a dunk contest, I would also probably double my career earnings. It's been bleak. But there's always hope. Honestly, it was fun to see, like, he's wearing a 76ers jersey. I didn't know he was on the 76ers. I didn't know he'd signed a two-way.
Was he really? Is he still?
Like, did the NBA send out like an email that was like, hey guys, can any team you got a two-way spot?
Who wants a branding opportunity?
Yeah, seriously. Will this guy's gonna win the dunk contest. We just need a jersey for him. He doesn't have a team. He's played 2 games ever. He hasn't scored this season.
He only dunks. He wanders the earth dunking. He played for like 3 colleges, just transferring, dunking from town to town.
Yeah. But I felt like the dunk contest was, I mean, the dunk contest remains basically irreparably broken. I don't know what you're supposed to do, but Mac McClung was an awesome performer. It was spectacular. I even felt bad.
I think what you're supposed to do is you just got to make the dunks. That's the difference to me.
Yeah.
You make the dunks, everything's good. If they don't make the dunks, it spreads like a pandemic.
What did you think of
awkwardness?
What did you think of Jericho Sims? I thought Jericho Sims's dunks were good.
I did
but
too, but
he got punished for
weird things.
Yeah.
He did weird stuff. The piece of paper was a weird thing to do. His hand got stuck when he was trying to retrieve the piece of paper. It was more awkwardness.
It was more awkwardness. I thought he could have gotten away with one dunk is, look how high my head is above the rim. I think that's legitimate. I think that's good enough.
He tried to, I don't know if you noticed, he tried to illustrate that after his
No,
dunk.
I know. He was like, saying, look how high. But again,
he was like, my head was 3 feet.
The judges didn't care. The judges didn't care at all.
Karl Malone didn't care about anything. He gave a 46 to every dunk.
Karl Malone, let's not even talk about. But I thought he also, poor Jericho Sims got hated on for pulling on the net. Yet
his hand was stuck.
But no Mac McClung talk about when you pick the ball up off the guy, you're pushing. Like, they're all boosting themselves off of a person.
Look, do you really want to go down this type of slow motion hole with me? Because the Zapruder film was unkind to Mac McClung.
I want to go down all the slow
motion.
Because
Mac McClung is the Houdini, is the Penn and Teller. Specifically, he's the teller of dunk contests. If you slow down his 540 or 720 dunk or whatever, 300 degrees of that spin are before he leaves the ground.
I believe Evan Fournier called that out on social media. He's like, this is a cool dunk, but is this really a 540?
He's twisted his body all the way around like a contortionist before he even leaves the ground. It's an illusion.
The one thing I don't believe I'd ever seen, basically because I don't get on YouTube or look at TikTok or Instagram Reels or anything. I hadn't seen like the double pump and then hesitate. I thought that was a fun one. I just thought that was a fun, like, oh, it's a twist. I haven't seen this performance twist. I really enjoyed it. I mean, I'm not.
I think they need to lie about his age. Remember how they would pretend Andre the Giant was 7'4" when he was like 6'9"?
Yeah.
Not his age, his height. I think we need to start the Mac McClung is 5'9" thing. He looks like he's 5'9". His haircut is 5'9". There's no reason to acknowledge a height of 6'2". I think we say he's 5'9". Once more, print the legend.
Yep.
Move forward.
So those are our best things. The opposite of our steak and eggs best thing is our cream of wheat worst thing. And I don't want to pile on how unenjoyable some of the games were, but I guess I'm going to. Like, it's not that I expected a lot, but like, it wasn't that long ago that the rookie sophomore game I thought was appointment viewing. And it now it's like we're playing like 10 minutes, like just these short quarters. You're playing at 25. Like, what is no one's going to remember these things. And then the actual game, the All-Star game, I think my one, I mean, the criticism everyone makes is like, there's absolutely no defense. I would like that to be highlighted by, I think in a game where almost 400 points were scored, the defense made the offense change the direction. I'm going to say 10 times. Like 10 times where a defender tried to make someone go a different direction.
Are you trying to change the narrative of Jaren Jackson Jr. being picked last? Is that what this is really all about?
That didn't bug me that much, although I thought Giannis would. I thought in whatever world that my brain exists, which is not reality, I thought Giannis would be like, Jaren Jackson Jr. is cooler than Domantas Sabonis. Thus, I will take Jaren Jackson Jr. over Domantas Sabonis. That part hurt a little bit.
So I guess I just did. So I watched the All-Star game without looking at Twitter or anything.
Yeah.
And it didn't seem that uncommon from other bad All-Star games to me. Um,
I mean, it was
the All-Star games are much better when they're closer at the end, which they usually are. There's usually some sort of like almost gentleman's agreement that it's going to get close at the end. The team that's down because they're comprised of all these superstars, and the other team because there's no defense being played anyways. It usually ends up being close at the end. But in this case, you had Tatum scoring so many points, that it was just, it became a sideshow almost. But this is kind of the bed we've made. Like,
yes,
if we're going to keep adding games to these players, they're going to find places to rest during the games that aren't just these, load management things. So, like, to me, if you really don't like stuff like this, we're going to have to stop supporting things like in-season tournaments and more games, more content, more content.
yeah.
Because this is the end result where we just, we just end up with lackluster product. But that's what's going to happen if we're going to have 200 games a year.
Do you think, I mean, we haven't added games yet. We're still,
no,
and basically these players are playing fewer games than ever. We have added a play-in tournament. That part's true. I almost wonder if like the Elam ending makes it feel like less of a game to the players. Where they're like, we're going to play 3 quarters and then we're going to goof off. I mean, like the last few seasons, I
was going to save this to kudos to me, but I think the Elam ending sucks, and I think it will be a long-term disaster.
The last couple years, if I remember correctly, which I probably don't because everything also related immediately erases from my brain. Like I forgot Karl Anthony Towns won the All-Star, the 3-point shootout last year, but
yeah.
Last couple seasons, the games have been horrific. However, we got an Elam ending where, all right, they competed because for whatever reason, the scores were super close. This year, it didn't happen. This year, we had about 15 seconds of, Team LeBron scored 20 straight points or something like because the Team Giannis just started shooting half-court shots because there's no cool way to end an Elam ending when you're up 20. So they're like, it'll be cool if we just do it on half-court shots. And so they just kept firing. And so, like, again, you didn't get a single – you used to get not even like – I'm not even talking about like Kobe Bryant versus Michael Jordan 30 years ago. I'm talking like 10 years ago. You got some pick and rolls that ended in spectacular alley-oops. There weren't even assisted buckets. It was just dribble up and shoot. It was just
it was weird. It started off with a real bang.
Yeah.
Like we got a bunch of really cool oops. And I still think, you still get cool things like Dame shooting from, 3/4 of the court and
switching. Yeah, that was awesome when he made the half court.
I mean, you still get cool moments. I guess you have to ask yourself, what are you watching this for?
Yeah.
Like, when I watch the All-Star weekend, like I really am just hoping for some cool moments. If the game is good, that's a bonus. It's kind of like watching an All-Star game is like kind of like your bona fides as a fan. You're like, I am so in to this sport that I watch this ridiculous like Oscar party, red carpet crap. So like I don't know. It seems very strange to me to be up in arms about an All-Star game because I mean this is by far the best All-Star game in sports, and it's not close.
So I used to. And so this is where, like, I think about my fandom, and I think the thing I love about the All-Star game in basketball is just, you clearly you get to see these guys, these great players play together on teams you would never, ever get to see them play together. And so you used to get this experience like, wow, this is going to be awesome to watch whoever it was, David Robinson and Olajuwon play together, or,
Can I pivot my stance and completely reverse course and use this as a chance to show that Jason Tatum and the Boston Celtics are a boring style of basketball that ruins everything they touch?
Yeah, you can't. I mean, like the good part about this All-Star game this year was that third quarter where Jason Tatum and Donovan Mitchell were both on fire, and that was really cool. And then briefly, I thought the Jaylen Brown against Jason Tatum 1-on-1 was fun, but then it kept going.
I mean, that's going to be what people
just kept
remember.
Going. Like, why? Like, at some point, just stop. And
another problem, Joe Mazzulla just played his team out of the finals by both of his players will be exhausted. So
Tatum playing 35 minutes, taking 31 shots.
It's all good.
Another problem with the elim ending is it really screws up the playing times with like once the elim ending starts, like, and now that everyone's making 3-pointers, it's like the elim ending, this took 5 minutes. It was 5 minutes. We scored 25 points or whatever.
Yeah.
Or 24, excuse me, Kobe.
The elim ending in a post Steph Curry universe to me is the silliest notion that we could have. Like,
yeah.
If you thought threes were overvalued before this, now they're. I mean,
what's the point of even having a ruined All-Star game if the man who ruined the All-Star game, Steph Curry, isn't a part of it? The man who single-handedly destroyed basketball. No, it used to be not even 20 years ago. Like 5 to 10 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. Like
you're just pining for the days of Rolando Blackman.
I'm pining for seeing the good players compete. Just compete. Just like this is what made it better than the Pro Bowl. This is what made, I mean, the NFL Pro Bowl. This is what made it because like you actually saw play basketball. Yeah.
If Tom Chambers had dunked on somebody during this game, would you have enjoyed it?
If John Morant had dunked on somebody, but they don't even try.
I mean, current day Tom Chambers, who may not be alive.
For whatever reason,
John Morant got the one dunk.
I mean, is it social media's fault that it's not worth it for any player to risk getting dunked on? Like no one wants. It's like it is not okay to try right now in the All-Star game.
You could honestly say that. This is just kind of like players beginning to understand what a business it is and how much their brand is worth.
Yeah,
has destroyed all of these things like the dunk contest and the notion of getting shamed or a failure.
Yeah,
seems to have destroyed what a lot of players are willing to do. Although honestly, Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine to me are probably less than footnote players in the NBA if they don't have those dunk contest moments.
Right. Like, and I don't think I know Aaron Gordon is very upset, obviously, about getting robbed of his dunk contest.
Number 50, he wears the number 50.
I know, but I don't think the casual NBA fan or even hardcore NBA fans think of Aaron Gordon as like less than because of what he did.
I think he's the greatest dunk contest dunker of all time.
That's pretty spicy. My question for like the NBA.
I'm ready to rank them, by the way. Mac McClung, I don't think makes the top 10.
When they're well, what's your real quick ranking? I mean, for me it's Vince Carter, and then I don't remember anything else.
Mine is I have Aaron Gordon, Zach LaVine, Vince Carter, Dominique Wilkins, Michael Jordan, David Thompson. I'm losing my mind. There was a guy who was really good during.
What about 90s. Wilkins? Wilkins beat Michael Jordan. Did you say? I
Wilkins? Said Dominique.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry. I'm on a first name basis with me.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the guy who was so good in the 90s, but I think Mac McClung saddles in around 9 or 10.
Yeah.
But but that's good. That's great to have a
who's last? Birdman, John Collins, and.
It's between like Birdman. It's between Birdman and to me, I will never forgive the Dwight Howard debacle dunks or the.
But Dwight Howard's Superman performance was so good, so good.
True, but his bad performances were so bad though. Birdman to me is an iconic performance that cursed the dunk contest for 10 years. That was funny. The beginning of missing all of your dunks.
It's funny that we had the Birdman happen. And we're still like, hey, what if they just had a time to complete any number of dunks? And it wasn't like, go complete your dunk. My question for the NBA right now, like, I think just playing like rookie sophomore game, just having the rookies and sophomores play each other, a normal basketball game seems far better. Like it seems like just going to East-West maybe would be better again, but maybe not. My question for the people making these decisions for the NBA is getting the social media impressions, the Instagram and YouTube and TikTok or whatever, is getting the social media impressions of just some of the dunks and then the All-Star draft, because I think that was a huge social media moment, which is the actual drafting of the players.
And it was really fun.
Yeah, that was really fun. Is that better? I mean, LeBron and Giannis were incredible MCs, just incredible.
They had worked on their like Burns and Gracie Borscht Belt routine a little bit.
They really had. Make that a traveling
I don't think
roadshow.
those papers were. I don't think those papers were rosters. I think they were jokes and beats.
They really. I mean, it was good. Again, they were.
Yeah.
They went to they did their practice. Unlike the dunkers, they practiced how to perform.
Hey, the dunks were good though.
The dunks were good.
I'm
just saying they didn't sell them.
All the dunkers were good. I thought it was an embarrassment of riches.
They were very, very good dunks. But is the social media impressions more important than actual a game? Because like the ratings are terrible, and that was just again nothing.
Well,
we didn't luck out by having it be close.
I think you're just living too much in the moment because like if the game had been close and awesome, I just think we'd be having a different conversation. Like we've had All-Star games have cool moments and be close and be interesting fairly recently. I don't feel like we're in the midst of a great downturn. This game was just bad.
I would love to know, does every player in the All-Star team in the All-Star game, do they come out with like a or is it like a school survey they send home with your kid where it's like, hey, John Morant, what are you hoping to achieve in today's All-Star game? How many minutes would you like to play? Are you interested?
I bet there's a conversation.
Because I mean, like, if there's not, it's very strange. We were like, why does Jaylen Brown get to play so much? He was a reserve. Or like, why do these certain, it just seemed like this All-Star game consisted of like 6 people. And then everyone else was like, I'm good. I don't need to play. Like De'Aaron Fox doesn't get to play. I mean, all right, De'Aaron Fox is a replacement, so I'm not that upset about it. Like Jaren Jackson Jr. plays 8 minutes. Okay. But like, do these players, like, I don't understand how John Morant has scored 12 points in his 2 All-Star games total. He's a point guard who's starting the All-Star game. I guess he's just like, I don't care if I shoot. I'm just not going to play. So I don't, but I assume that's his personal choice. He's like,
I think it might be because I think there's some evidence of Ja being like super too cool for school already. Like, I don't know if you saw the Jaren.
You're talking about regular season games?
Oh dear. There was like moments where they could have participated in some festivities where they definitely, did not try, didn't care. But that's how young people behave.
Here's unrelated to just old man yells at cloud. Old man yells at cloud stuff. Here's my one actual specific worst thing about my one cream of wheat about the All-Star game. After the player draft happened, and I'm looking at these rosters, this had never occurred to me. Maybe this is just a small market guy. I never imagined seeing my players in the All-Star game. I never imagined my favorite team would have 2 All-Stars in the same game. But at one point after the draft, I'm like, wait a minute, Jokic and Jaren Jackson Jr. are on the same team. If Jokic and Jaren Jackson Jr. play together, it never crossed my mind once in my life that those guys could ever, in a basketball game, be on the same team. This is like NBA 2K stuff. This is dream stuff. The absolute perfect pairing, in my mind, again, my personal taste, would be Jokic and Jaren Jackson Jr. playing together. And I'm like, I might pass out. They get to play basketball together. And they didn't.
I think you're trying to segue here, aren't you?
Well, I'm just saying. So this is my worst thing where like they didn't play together. That was like the one, my entire hope of this game is like, oh, I get to see this perfect pairing of my 2 guys play together. Not that they would have tried, but like they didn't even play together. This is the one opportunity I would have ever had. But then I started thinking like, what would be my dream lineup? Like my dream lineup for any NBA game. And this is why I think maybe I liked past All-Star games where I'm like, what would it look like if Dirk Nowitzki and Steph Curry played together? That's insane. What if they could also play with, I don't know, Shaq in the middle? And like, what's the perfect dream lineup you could build? And so I was thinking about this specific All-Star game, about my dream of seeing Jaren Jackson Jr. and Jokic play some minutes together, which did not happen. And I came up with, I thought was my perfect 5-man lineup. And I want to hear you, John, on what you think is your perfect ideal. It doesn't have to be All-Star game lineup. It can be any players. But I was thinking my perfect basketball, just my subjective things I enjoy, players I like. Like if I'm starting with the front court and I can have Jokic and Jaren Jackson Jr., that's God tier stuff. Like this is the all-time great offensive player in Jokic, maybe the best player in the game. And then Jaren Jackson Jr., this spectacular defensive guy who can be a stretch 4 alongside Jokic, perfect pairing. I figured my perfect lineup would be to add Steph Curry to this. Steph Curry point guard. On the wing, probably Kevin Durant. Although unfortunately, I'm now leaning Jason Tatum. Let's just say,
I did a regular season and playoffs version for this very scenario.
Oh, okay. So I'm just gonna say, but I'm actually gonna go Tatum. I think maybe the fit's a little bit cleaner. But I'm thinking of Tatum, Jaren Jackson Jr., Jokic front court with Steph Curry in the back court. I need a fifth. I don't know who my shooting guard is gonna be. Let's just say D'Anthony Melton. So I don't think anyone can beat a 5-man lineup of Steph, Melton, Tatum, Jaren Jackson Jr. and Nikola Jokic. Maybe I should put Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday's better. All right, I'll put Drew Holiday. I love that 5-man lineup. Steph, Drew Holiday, Jason Tatum, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Nikola Jokic. I'm obviously leaving off like the Giannis and Embiid's, the other best players in the league. But I think my 5-man unit could probably beat anyone else you could assemble. Not that that's the activity. The activity is just what's your dream. So who's your ideal 5-man lineup?
Well, I'm certain my lineup would beat your lineup.
Okay.
But you used some favoritism to get in some local legends.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we'll do my playoff lineups.
Okay.
So I would have my guards would be Steph and Luka.
Okay.
And I'm cheating a little bit. I'm going small, and I'm playing Giannis at the 5.
Wow. Okay.
And then I would have I would have KD, and then I would have. Here's my zag. I'm kind of distilling your Jaren Jackson Jr., D'Anthony Melton pick into one player who I think I can actually justify. I'll throw out Jimmy Butler.
Oh yeah, very good, very very good.
As my playoff stopper. The only difference I had in my regular season lineup, I obviously get Jokic in there. Obviously,
yeah.
It's hard to leave him off of my playoff lineup. But for now, I think that would be like the unbeatable squad for me.
That is,
it's a good so one. Bad to leave LeBron off, but
yeah, I considered including LeBron. Honestly, let's be frank.
Dame Lillard, like I'd love to have off the bench shooting clutch.
Let's be frank that if we're building the ideal best 5-man lineup for anyone, for non-homers, you're not including Jaren Jackson Jr. Right. Honestly, my pick would probably be a Jokic Giannis front court with Durant at the 3, maybe Tatum all the way up at 2. With Steph Curry at the 1. I am leaving off Luka. I apologize to Embiid. I still feel like as far as the team build, I like Jokic better on these things.
7-game series, like Jokic has undoubtedly been the MVP for 3 straight years. However, I do think, Embiid is a powerful presence in the playoffs and has been very close to, getting his team past a Kawhi-led Raptors that won it all, I do think that's Embiid is a presence, but neither guy to me would do what Giannis could do at the 5.
Yeah.
Just gazelle sprinting up and down the court.
But I mean, shooters. if I have Jokic at the 5, he could be throwing it to Giannis gazelle sprinting as a 4.
Really?
No, I mean these are all very very good. These are all great lineups that theoretically we could have seen compete. If the All-Star game had players actually trying to compete. So I again, maybe it had never crossed my mind. Just like I never
what you have essentially is point Jokic, which allowed you to eschew Doncic. Although I think, Doncic to me is weird because he has such gravity and he's so he needs the ball so much.
Yeah.
But his playoff performances have been so awesome that I just can't. It's impossible for me to.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like Jokic has been a slouch in the playoffs. I mean, the man can get a bucket.
No, not at all.
Against anybody. I also wonder. One guy who like really was great in the All-Star game, who we haven't mentioned yet, was or mentioned in passing, was like Donovan Mitchell. I feel like Donovan Mitchell has somehow
he scored like 40 points,
but like
was like the third highest scorer.
He was so good in this game. And the one thing we've always taken away from All-Star games is like when it's the best of the best who acts like they are better than the other guys. When it's all the best players together, which of those players emerge and are like, get out of my way, I got this. That's another one of those things where I'm like, I guess Ja doesn't care about that because, like Donovan Mitchell has stepped onto these things and been like, listen, I'm as good. I might be, should I be in the conversation for
I
like the best guard in the league?
I think even the numbers bear out that Donovan Mitchell is the best scorer in the league.
Could be.
Like I think if you take the off ball shooting and the getting to the rim, I think he's the guy who shows up highest in both conversations.
Yeah.
I think the only thing keeps him from being thought of as a true superstar is A, where he has played, and B, that he might be the worst defender in the league.
But I don't know if he is anymore. I mean, I don't know.
Probably not. He's probably not even as bad as Ja, although Ja has his moments. But I think Donovan Mitchell just should be thought of as one of the best offensive players in the league at this point, and I think we're getting there. He just has done it day in, day out. He has a bad reputation with some sectors, but I think a lot of that has to do with having to play against some of the largest fan bases and most vocal fan bases.
Yeah.
So I think he's kind of unfairly maligned. But I mean, he's just if you had to get a bucket, find someone better than Donovan Mitchell. I defy you.
Yeah. Anyways, that was a lot of all-star talk. Let's, before we get to the award segment of the program, let's do a couple of listener submitted questions. The croissant questioner.
All right. Monte World Peace asks, if Westbrook is a vampire, who is a werewolf?
Yeah. So that's in regards to, was it an unnamed source? Was it Patrick Beverly?
Probably.
Whenever Westbrook was traded away, they said he was a vampire.
Energy vampire. Life force. Shout out Toby Hooper. I would love for Russell Westbrook to stalk the earth completely nude, sucking the life out of people like the vampire and Life Force.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to so I feel like werewolves have, whether you're talking True Blood or whether you're talking in the hierarchy of movie monsters, they've often deferred to vampires.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back to the man who enabled the triple-double MVP season. I'm going to say Steven Adams is a werewolf.
Steven Adams is a werewolf.
Yeah, for giving Westbrook all those rebounds.
Well, also in the cinematic universe of the monsters who gave us High School Musical, have now given us these musicals called Zombies. John, I don't know if your child is maybe a couple years away, maybe from having that music latch into them. They are also these werewolves are like the secondary now characters introduced in the second movie. This thing is, by the way, the bane of my existence. It's a horrifying thing that's entered my my children's lives. Yeah, I like the Steven Adams one. Honestly, I was thinking, I thought of this player and I realize now how my brain made the connection. It's because I believe the name Valanciunas is means wolf. So I was thinking Jonas Valanciunas is one of the werewolves of the league.
He grows a beard quickly.
That is the most important feature of a werewolf. What's another question we have here?
Joe Utes asks, which current player do you think will have the best old man game? This is Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, it's Shingun or Jokic. I mean, I do think Kyrie is going to age well because maybe.
Really?
But I don't know if he's going to care enough.
Explosive player.
He is. I mean, Durant, I feel like he's hit a
Jamal
point with
Crawford
his body. I mean, yeah, Jamal Crawford went for forever.
John Morant has 2 more good years, so we need to savor this.
It's not John Morant. It's not.
I mean, everything that Steven Adams does, he does without jumping ever.
He's so young that the fact that everyone thinks he's so much older, I feel like it portends badly for his future. It's got to be Jokic. I mean,
Domantas Sabonis has a very low effort.
But like, I think Domantas Sabonis, when he loses his speed, is actually going to affect him because like I think if Jokic is like he does everything. KD? He's jogging.
Who's the next KD? Is it like Tatum
or
something?
I don't know. What do you mean?
Oh yeah, I'm just the guy who's just like effortlessly dropping 33 points a game and in his late 30s. I don't think there is another LeBron. I think this is the only Panther blood player we have. One more?
Yeah, let's do one more.
Owen O'Neill asks, this is amazing, and I have no clue. Without looking it up, who is the longest tenured player on the Orlando Magic?
I also have not looked this up. I feel like
I haven't. I think there's one who I think the answer is kind of secretly obvious.
I would guess Gary Harris,
unless I whiff. Ooh, I thought he was traded there. I was going to say Jonathan Isaac.
He was traded there. Oh,
I guess I should
So now we have to come up with the
this.
answer. Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah,
now we have to live come up with the answer. So when was
Okay, so Gary Harris, I've got the team up now. Oh dang it. It doesn't have the roster though. This is dumb. Okay, here we go. Gary Harris joined the team in, I think you're going to be right. He joined the team halfway through 2020-21.
Well, so I'm now looking. So Jonathan Isaac and Markel Fultz.
Fultz joined the team more recently, though, right?
They were both on the team in 2019-20. Is it Fultz?
I think I got it. Because this has Jonathan Isaac being on the team in 2017. Can that be true?
Yeah, it's got to be Jonathan Isaac.
I think it's Jonathan Isaac. We just forget that he exists.
Yeah, this is his sixth year. Is that right?
I'm looking at the roster.
This is Jonathan Isaac's sixth year.
Let me see when Fultz joined, but yeah,
no, it's 100% Jonathan Isaac. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a great question, Owen and Neil.
Very strong question. I would if Jonathan Isaac hadn't recently come back, that one would have just been lost to time.
If you would have asked me, this is the fugue of being a parent, where the last 8 years are just a blur. You told me, Jonathan, I would not have guessed that he's been in the league for 6 years.
That's weird because I just, when he shows up, if I hadn't clicked on his name,
yeah,
I wouldn't have seen the 2017 because the basketball reference page just says experience 3.
Yeah,
so
it would have been. This was like a shout out to Terrence Ross, the Human Torch.
Oh, it definitely would have been
getting bought out. Anyways, thanks for those questions. If you want to get your question answered on air, you have to become a Patreon supporter. Also, if you join our Patreon, you get to join our Slack channel where we talk about everything around the clock. Also, you can play in the Pickle Pick'em. No one has invoiced me, John. I told people to invoice me for their prizes. No one has done it. So again, if you won Pickle Pick'em, you got to tell me what shirt you want. I'll send you a shirt. So you gotta let me know. Anyways, support the show. Come hang out in our Slack. Do it at patreon.com/Fastbreak Breakfast. All right, it's now time for the awards segment of the program. We did have some basketball games in the last week. Of course,
I was hoping this was pure All-Star, but I guess
no. It's Kevin Huerter, honorable mention for the All-Star.
Okay.
Paul George missing all 9 of his wide open 3-point attempts. We had 3 days of regular season basketball that are still covered in the last week, and from that we have 3 nominees as they occurred over the last week. Keldon Johnson. In a loss to the Hornets, Keldon Johnson was 6 for 20. He did score 21 points, had 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 turnover, and 2 personal fouls. Ja Morant, in the final game before the All-Star break, a win against the Jazz. He was 8 for 26. Also was 3 for 8 from the foul line. We don't normally throw in the foul line stats, but 8 for 26, 3 for 8 from the foul line. All that led to him scoring 20 points. He also got 9 assists, 8 rebounds, 2 steals, had 2 turnovers, 2 personal fouls. And then Kyle Kuzma in a win against the Timberwolves. I guess we can make Mike Conley an honorable mention for his 0 for 6 in that game. Kyle Kuzma was 6 for 21 in this victory with 16 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block, 4 turnovers, and 1 personal foul. So we have Keldon Johnson,
I can't vote for Kevin Huerter?
I'm sorry. No, we're going to need a regular season winner. Keldon Johnson, 6 for 20, 21 points, 8 boards, 4 assists. Ja Morant, 8 for 26, 20 points, 9 assists, 8 rebounds. And Kyle Kuzma, 6 for 21, 16 points, 7 rebounds, also 4 turnovers.
It's a pretty, inoffensive group, but I'll do Keldon.
Yeah, you'll lean Keldon. I was leaning between...
Morant has a lot of shots.
I think Kuzma's got to be better than Keldon because Kuzma, more turnovers and more missed shots. 6 for 21 against 6 for 20. I was trying to decide between Kuzma and Ja. I guess under our normal parameters, I think I would go Kuzma. I don't know.
Ja missed a lot of shots. I think we should give it, even though he scored 55 points, we should give it to Jason Tatum for taking 33 shots in an All-Star game.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Like the highest
Kobe really is his hero. That's disgusting.
I mean, it was a lot. Well, like honestly, everyone's like, "Hey, we can't have one-on-one games at like as an all-star event. Like, why can't we just play a one-on-one?" Well,
We did.
it seemed like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown were into it. I'm like, let's do it. Let's just
Yeah.
play one-on-one. You know
We're
what it
back
is?
we're back in our hate blanket.
Here's the hate blanket. You do
Okay,
it.
well, I'll simplify it. Let's do it. Let's give it to Ja. He has so many shots.
Okay. No, I was saying let's do the All-Star game like kids basketball camp. Like a bucket is worth, any basket is worth 2 points. If you do a pick and roll, it's worth 4 points. If you do a pick and roll where 4 people touch it, it's worth 6 points. If you do if you do a baseline screen, back cut, bounce pass, it's worth 8 points. Like you got bonus points for running plays. No, yeah, all right. Here, John. I'm glad you relinquished and decided let's just give it to John Morant because I hadn't noticed this, and then I went down a little, we'll call it a slow motion hole, a term you coined earlier in the show. I looked at this John Morant line, 8 for 26, but also 3 from 8 from the foul line. That's a weird stat line, and guess what? That's the second game in the last 40 seasons.
Wow.
Where a player has attempted at least 25 field goal attempts and made under 35% of them, and attempted at least 8 free throw attempts and made less than 40% of them. The only other person to do it in the last 40 years, Antoine Walker, 23 years ago, 1999. So John Morant was chucking. I mean, honestly, there's only been 3 games since the merger where a player has attempted 25 or more field goals.
Well, I think we got
35% and attempted 8 or more free throws and made under 40%. So congratulations to Ja Morant. Kudos to me. Our segment where in honor of Dylan Brooks complimenting himself. What's something that you got right? I don't have a kudos to me basically this week. Can you carry us here, John? What's your kudos to me?
If you're a member of our Patreon only Slack chat, you would know. I posted my my bets. Joel Embiid first pick.
Oh, nice.
Kudos to me.
Kudos to you.
I think there's like weird things you can learn from those drafts that I think are really fun. Like like Jaylen Brown being taken so early showed me that he has a lot of respect from the players.
He was taken early and he was allowed to shoot as much as he wanted.
Yeah. I think you learn a lot about like the hierarchy.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me. I really, even though the game was so putrid, there's just a lot because it's a personality driven league. It's still fun for me.
Yeah.
And I may be, we are content creators, so maybe it's an embarrassment of riches for me. But people like my dad don't watch this game.
Right. But doesn't the NBA want the casual fans to watch this?
I think they do, and I think they do the best job. I have no support for this. But isn't this the most watched All-Star thing by far? The only thing I can think of that's even close to the home run derby.
This was well below this year's NFL Pro Bowl. Raiders.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm in the dark on this. Then.
Yeah.
I'm just dead wrong. Well, that's not going to happen.
I mean, I don't understand how you're supposed to get casual fans to be like, hey, it's Team Giannis versus Team LeBron. By the way, it's not a normal basketball game. We're doing a thing at the end called an elim ending. Everyone's turned off their TV at that point in the presentation.
Deeply confusing.
Just play a basketball game is my.
They should just do break the teams into
let
3-on-3,
let each player
squads.
I mean, how many All-Star jerseys do they sell?
Bill Lambier combat.
Is it that important to sell All-Star jerseys where they have to design? Let each player wear their favorite throwback jersey from their franchise. I mean, just let the guys play basketball.
Cool that they let Dame Lillard wear his Weber State jersey in the 3-point contest. I thought it was cool that Dame Lillard won the 3-point contest.
Yeah.
I think that was a cool straw in his hat.
Also, why in the 3-point contest? How come? Why haven't they figured out a way to tell us the possible remaining points? Because it's always Reggie Miller he's got to make all of these. Actually, mathematically, he's already eliminated.
No.
There's no way to. I'm even really good with math, and it's still confusing for me because I'm like, wait, how many starry balls are left?
Well, it's because.
By the way, have you ever heard of starry? Is that not Sprite? Is this a new drink?
It's a new drink. Yes.
Just they're.
Someone threw in the towel, and a new challenger has emerged
for this with a new Sprite. Starry, send us some of your product so I can talk about it.
It's basically Crystal Pepsi. which right now I'm ready to drink.
Here's not a kudos to me, but kudos to the listener, which is a very much against the spirit of the show. Last week we were complaining about how bad search engines are and how like I just want to find out the injury report for games. Multiple listeners, kudos to you. Multiple listeners were like, "Hey, moron, the NBA has like an NBA.com/injury report where everyone is just updated every hour." I'm like, "What? No one told me this." I cover the NBA. I had no idea. But thanks. Kudos to you guys for everyone who sent me that very basic information.
Kudos to you.
Kudos to me. Par fadeaway, John. What thing are you looking forward in the, let's say, not just coming
other than the watch
let's
party?
Say the final 20 to 25 games, the final third of the season. What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to, and perhaps you can tell me when this is, the return of some of our favorite players, the Steven Adamses, the Kevin Porter Juniors.
No idea. No idea. OG Anunoby is supposed to play on Thursday, which is good because he was getting dropped in my fantasy league. I could not hang on to him one more day. But apparently OG Anunoby's come back. I don't know. The rest of the guys are coming back. Giannis played in the All-Star game, but it's
typically he played 1 minute.
one possession. Yeah.
I feel like All-Star break a lot of times is just when guys with these injuries sit out till. So I think we should get a flood of interesting players returning.
Not Lonzo.
I was about to say that, but I didn't get into it. But another like a tertiary worst for me is finding out Lonzo Ball has like Chuck Knobloch knee or some kind of terrible degenerative condition. That's really sad.
I tell you, I mean, I'm looking forward to so many things. I feel like the break, you get the trade deadline, then you get the break, and now it's like this is the final mad push. I'm looking forward to some of these new squads, seeing how they're gonna turn out now that they get their players all back and healthy.
I think you're referring to the Russell Westbrook led Clippers mostly.
I mean, also just all the buyout guys. I mean, I watched Terrence Ross play on the Suns, and he was, by my estimation, god awful. Just doing the Terrence Ross thing, but like you got Patrick Beverley going to the Bulls. I don't know if that means anything. You got Russell Westbrook on the Clippers.
Is it weird that I thought Patrick Beverley had been on the Bulls before and he hadn't?
I felt the same way. I guess he's just from Chicago. He's one of Tony Allen's friends from Chicago. Also,
Chuck's going home.
Chuck's Miami Heat picking up Kevin Love and Cody Zeller, who I always maintain is a good basketball player, even though he wasn't in the league.
I love that the Heat fans are acting like Kevin Love's. It's just going to be like Chris Bosh is back.
I mean, they needed this.
That's true.
They needed a backup 5. They need he can even play alongside.
So they picked up a backup 4.
Yeah. I mean, he's not either really. He's a 4. He's like a 4.7.
Yeah.
I don't know what he is. But I also thought it was funny
to stand in the corner.
I honestly do think he's going to help them a little bit. And
really,
he can shoot. That's all he can shoot and he can pass and he's big. Like, I think he'll be fine. But I thought it was funny that there were reports that the Cavaliers are going to buy him out because he's out of the rotation and they just don't want him to go to an Eastern Conference team. And I was like, well, that means the Heat, but they can't buy him. They can't buy him out and be like, don't go to the Heat.
That whole situation of Love leaving the Cavs for the Heat confuses my basketball mind as far as where these teams are in the standings.
Yeah.
It's just like why?
Let's do a very basic thing to close the show. What is what are your tiers right now of NBA teams? I feel like I don't have any originality of thought on not just this segment, but just who I think is good. I think
we did this a couple weeks ago. I don't think my tiers have changed. I don't think the buyout market did anything.
No. You still have the Warriors.
You know what? It did do something. I will move the Clippers down a tier.
So I mean, we're still I thought about it more and more, and now I am ready to go ahead and promote Suns into the A1 tier. But so just Celtics, Bucks, Nuggets, Suns Nuggets for you. Suns ahead of the Nuggets, and then everybody else is for me. I'm not going to be. I'll be surprised if maybe those aren't the teams left standing.
Yeah, that's kind of where I have it. I do have Dallas higher than you. I have Dallas as my number 3 in the West still. It's my hill that I die on. And, and I think I do. So I have Dallas and Philly both in there, these 2 many tiers below the two top teams.
Yeah.
And then there's like a gulf. And then I have, like the Warriors and the Clippers. And over here I have like, the Cavs and probably the aforementioned Heat. Really, I think the Heat will probably make more noise than the Knicks or Brooklyn, which is who's ahead of them in the standings, I think.
Which one of these teams do you think would you which one of these teams would you think is most likely to win a playoff round? The Knicks, the Kings, the Heat, or the Timberwolves? Or anybody else, honestly, below that? Should I put Pelicans in? I don't know.
The Heat.
Yeah. I don't respect the Kings. I'm sorry.
No.
I think part of that is they're on pace to win 46 games, which in a normal year is like a 7 seed.
Right.
Like they're around there. Yeah, I think my Mavericks fear is growing. I'm very similar where I have like the Sixers, Mavericks, Cavs, and then I guess the Grizzlies as next tier with I guess the Warriors too. I'm terrified of the Warriors. So like, and then
I just that's not fun for me to say. I just do not consider the Grizzlies a playoff threat at this moment with this roster.
The thing that's really harming me, and this is just the time off where I keep digging into the stats. And I did my Grits and Grinds episode this week was all about like, here are 3 nightmare stats for the Grizzlies.
You're like the Alex Jones of
yeah. Well, I'm like, this is where maybe this team isn't any good. One of them is like they have a slightly negative net rating when Jaren Jackson Jr. doesn't play. Where I'm like, Jaren Jackson Jr. can't be your whole team. And this whole John Morant is in the MVP conversation, and Jaren Jackson Jr. is the best defender and an all-star. But when Steven Adams doesn't play, the team's not any good. Like Steven Adams can't be the one thing that's like, oh yeah, we're not good when this one guy's not there. No, yeah, I'm a little sad about it. All right.
We have some exciting, impactful players, but we ruined our team in the offseason.
Anyways, if you want to come to a Grizzlies watch party tomorrow night, I'll be at Noble's Beer Hall giving away Grizzlies prizes. That's Thursday, February 23rd, 6:30 p.m., Nashville, Tennessee, Noble's Beer Hall. Going to have some drink specials and Grizzlies giveaways for Grizzlies Sixers. Don't miss it. If you want to support our show, do that at patreon.com/fastbreak breakfast. Follow us on Twitter at Fastbreak Break. You guys are the best. Thanks for listening. And remember, breakfast is the most important thing. All right. And welcome to Fast Break Breakfast NBA podcast. My name is Keith Parrish. I'm joined once again with my buddy through the miracle of computer phone. I've now lost.